I watched the movie last night and it's so achingly beautiful and real and charming. It just like makes
Oh,
me want to fall in love, but I don't want to go through what she went through.
yeah.
But I'm curious, what gravitated you towards this project?
Well, I've always dreamed of doing an English period movie, where you wear dresses and walk around big sort of palatial homes. And um, then when this script came along, it was kind of amazing because when you think about those movies, I always automatically think Jane Austen, and then I just thought, all of her novels have been done before. So when this came along and the freshness of it, the modernity to it, and the timeliness, I think I just felt, it's so funny and it's so smart, and she's so strong yet vulnerable. I just totally fell in love with her.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Anne, your character, she is witty. She's unapologetically honest and vulnerable. Do you see any similarities between you and her?
No, I mean, yes and no. I don't know. Sometimes in some ways, depends on the day, but I really respect her as a woman.
Yeah, did you learn anything from her while playing her?
I learn things from every job, from every woman. And I think the thing that I respect so much is that she always had, though she was in a society that, did not allow for her to have agency or freedom, she always had immense agency because she chose her mind and herself over a dull marriage or an arranged marriage or some kind of forced love. So that to me, I really, she would rather be alone than be in an unloving relationship.
Yeah, and that's so beautiful. And I mean, speaking about love in the film, your character is heartbroken when she has to end things with Captain Wentworth, but she never gives up hope. Why do
Yeah.
you think it's important that people just never lose hope or faith in something?
I think that that's just like one of the few things you can really rely on.
You mentioned that you've always wanted to play kind of like an English character. Your accent in this movie is so good. I like forgot you were obviously American.
Oh, that's great. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I was like, oh shoot, she's like American for real. But how what was it working on perfecting the accent? What was the hardest part?
I was so, it was so important to me that I really got that right. Um, and that it sounded natural and not
Mhm.
forced and not ridiculous. And um, so I studied, I worked for a few months before we started filming, and then worked every day with a dialect coach in the mornings, and whenever we had breaks and things, just to train my mouth really.
Yeah, and you said you worked on it during breaks too. Did you ever like use the accent in your everyday life just for fun or with friends or family and like test out to see what they thought about it?
No, that's a funny thing. My director, Carrie, was like, thought that maybe it would be helpful if I stayed in the accent between takes or just all the time. And I couldn't do it. It felt like I was like mocking or something. It felt I don't know. So I would switch in and out of it all day.
Yeah, and I mean, also what I like about this movie that we kind of touched on earlier is that it really shows off your like chops because it's really witty and just like quick, and like the little one-liners are just so good. How fun was it for you to talk on camera? Because that's so different. We don't see that in film every day.
That was really fun. I loved including the camera and the crew and the audience in that way. It really felt, um, I don't know, just kind of fresh.
The film has beautiful, like stunning locations. Did you get to explore any of the areas while you were filming with your co-stars? Do you have any fun stories you want to share? Just like a beautiful place that like took your breath away?
Well, the West Country in the summertime is one of the most beautiful places. So just being there and being able to film a Jane Austen movie, in the English countryside in the summertime was remarkable. It was a total dream.
Your character, she's persuaded to give up the love of her life. Have you ever been persuaded to give up something that you didn't want to give up in your life?
Yeah.
Can you share or no?
My reproductive rights.
But just like Anne, never losing hope, we cannot lose hope.
Yeah.
Also, your character, she tends to be very outspoken and she doesn't really have a filter, which is personally what I love about her. Has there ever been a time where you said something impulsively and you're just like, oh shoot, and it surprised people or it even surprised to you?
Oh God, yeah, I think that happens all the time for me.
But do you ever regret anything or just like, whatever, like what's said is done?
Yeah, of course. I think, I'm human, I make mistakes, but I don't know. I can't think of a specific example.
Well, that's good. Well, why do you think this film is so relevant now and like speaks so much to women?
Well, I mean, Persuasion takes place in the Regency era, and women were meant to keep a home. They were meant to bear children, be a wife. They were not financially independent. And I think, especially now with the state of reproductive rights in America, I think a lot of women might feel a connection to feeling quite trapped and lacking freedoms that they should have.